FBI Director Kash Patel and Deputy Director Dan Bongino reaffirmed that Jeffrey Epstein died by suicide in his Manhattan jail cell in 2019, directly addressing and rejecting conspiracy theories of murder. During a Fox interview, they both stated that they reviewed the complete case file and found no evidence of foul play. This is them with Maria Bartoloma. Yeah, play this clip. And guys, while you're watching this, tell me if it's awkward the way that they're responding, considering the shit that they used to talk. Him and Kash Patel used to go in.
They're really crazier than us.
What do you mean? 10 times more like, yo, first day, and what are you talking about? Okay. Look at how the tune and the volume and the attitude has changed. Play this clip.
You said Jeffrey Epstein committed suicide. People don't believe it.
Well, I mean, listen, they have a right to their opinion, but as someone who has worked as a public defender, as a prosecutor, who's been in that prison system, who's been in the Metropolitan Detention Center, who's been in segregated housing, you know a suicide when you see one, and that's what that was.
He killed himself. Again, you want me to get, I've seen the whole file. He killed himself.
They look like they're in
Her
physical.
face is mine right now. I'm like,
Go back. Jake, go back. Look at her face, Jake, fast forward it to the end, bro.
And by the way, they edited it too. Like right after they say that, she's like, "Yeah, I know it's tough." Then it jump cuts.
It jump cuts.
Yeah.
Well, okay, because I want to know what you guys think about this, especially you two. Kelly, I'll come to you too. Guys, is it possible that the files that they're seeing, Brandon, were altered by the previous FBI Comeys and all these freaking douchebags? Because they don't want them to see the. Bro, you think it's hard for people like Comey and all the most corrupt agency, especially with the 2016 Crossfire Hurricane, all that shit? You don't think it's easy for them to take out shit and move shit and make it seem like he killed himself?
Well, yeah, no, it is easy for that, but like also it would be pretty obvious if that happened. I mean, unfortunately, it just seems like pedophiles run the world because, you know, they say whoever you can't criticize, that's who really runs things. And, you know, like, look at them. Like, it looks like an SNL skit. The fear of God's in their eyes and they're speaking. Like, it looks like Bongino's in physical pain when he's speaking right there. You know, like you can't say for a second he looks like he's telling the truth. So he's like either scared or being threatened. And then, you know, the question is, why is Pam Bondi, you know, knowing about this stuff and not talking about it? So, I mean, they report to Trump. So what's Trump worried about? Is Trump going to use this as a weapon? Is he worried about making him look bad or making America look bad? But I don't know. Like there seems to be this like terror of just kind of blowing the whole thing up. So yeah, it sucks. It reminds me of what I talked about with the Franklin cover-up, where the director of the CIA is telling the author, like, hey, don't go near this thing. You're going to get yourself killed. And like there's dark forces that we can't control sometimes. And then that CIA director ends up dying in his canoe, like mysteriously outside of his house.
And
yeah.
Ben, you make a very, very good point. And I think we talked about this briefly. How crazy is it that the most powerful people in the world are probably pedophiles because they can control this information from coming out? Because look what Trump's doing, bro. Trump is out there exposing everybody, talking crap, making posts. Then I'm going to come to you. Do you think we're going to find anything out in this 4 years? Anything,
no,
Brandon?
with this topic? No.
At all?
No, and it sucks how
I agree.
Like there's a split, I guess, between the people who are on the Republican side that talk about this stuff, because you know some of them are just like kind of going along with it, like the Benny Johnson types, or even Glenn Beck is kind of trying to rationalize it. Like Glenn Beck's like, oh, well, I don't know, I don't believe this, but I have sources in the FBI that are confirming this. So like I hate that. Don't even like don't play along with it.
Yeah, and by the way, just he's gonna laugh. Ricky in the chat said, every time Dan Bongino lies, he loses more hairline. Ricky, you're crazy, bro. Connor, what do you think?
Well, you know what Dan Bongino and a group of rabbits walking backwards have in common? A receding hairline. But I'm a dad now.
That's not your best work. You have better dad jokes than that.
I got it.
I'll work on my material.
Yeah, you can connect Vinny.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, funnily enough, Vinny rarely ever talks about comedy on Manect. It's all like
helping people. Vinny's saving lives on
Biz
Manect.
Doc is the dad joke expert.
Yeah.
But anyway, back to this. This is really disappointing. I mean, with Kash, we were obviously already kind of disappointed. We've talked about that a lot on the show. I think it's like day 90. The 90-day anniversary of when he said, day one, I'm releasing the Epstein files. Still nothing, but, you know, that's Kash and Pam Bondi not doing the thing they promised to do. But Bongino was always, like, way more solid. And, you know, both him and Kash Patel were out there when they were just commentators, you know, banging that drum saying, Epstein didn't kill himself. This wasn't a suicide. This is a cover-up. But Bongino was more into it than we are on a daily basis. You know, when he was, you know, just a tough guy commentator making all these remarks, he was dogged about it. He was not letting up. And now all of a sudden, looking like he's in a hostage video, suddenly he's, you know, just another well-dressed suit who's like, well, he killed himself. I saw it. He definitely did it. We have this post from him on Twitter as well. He's just saying, you know, Jeffrey Epstein killed himself. There's no evidence in the case file indicating otherwise. I'm not asking you to believe me or not. I'm telling you what exists and what doesn't. If new evidence surfaces, I'm happy to reevaluate. Like, there's going to be new evidence in it. Like, I'm sorry, guys. The guards fell asleep, allegedly. The cameras malfunctioned, and his cellmate was moved somewhere else. Like, that's not a recipe for everything played out as it seems. Not to mention the fact that the fractures to his neck don't line up with hanging yourself.
Yeah, the heloid bone or something.
The paper sheets couldn't even support his weight if that's what he did. It doesn't add up. So for them to say, oh, you know a suicide when you see one, so do the rest of us, I think.
Yeah.
Of like, I think I would be able to tell, okay, that guy clearly hung himself versus I'm looking at these facts and my untrained eyes see things that don't line up. So this is, you know, very disappointing, but it's par for the course at this point.
And guess I'm not the smartest guy in the room, but you guys know the proper terminology is he hanged himself, right?
Yes, that's right.
Thank you. I'm just trying.
Comment.
Kelly,
It
Kelly, what do you think about this whole situation?
The chat's gonna hate me.
I'm reading the chat, so I want to hear. Let's see how much.
What are the odds? They did their job. We just don't like the answer.
Well, I say low because they openly admit they've seen 10,000 hours of this stuff going on video with the people who bought the kids, and they haven't released it. And they only mentioned that they had that because they were threatened by O'Keefe. So if they're hiding that and like they're withholding all this evidence, and like I would be inclined to think that they're lying about this part of it too. Like they seem to be like. Well, actually, you know what? They haven't been transparent at all. Like, they haven't talked about this. They haven't talked about the assassination attempt, which they said in that one, like, they're going with a narrative like, oh, yeah, it was just a lone gunman, which bullshit. And then
there's no way.
The freaking drone thing, even, like, they never told us about the drones. So, like, the transparency grade with the administration's like an F.
And Kelly, let me grant your premise for a moment. Because I think that is a perfectly valid thing to say. You have Dan Bongino, who has always been very solid and actually had a lot of credibility earned over a long career going in. So if Dan Bongino says it was a suicide, that is at least reason to think, okay, maybe it was. Vinny and I were just talking about this the other day of, let's say all those things happen. The guards allegedly go to sleep, the cameras malfunction.
I'm sure that happens all the time.
Let's say all this lines up.
Yeah.
And Epstein really does kill himself.
Yeah.
What he's been told through people communicating with him through his attorneys and all that is, hey, here's your window. Cameras are going to be off for an hour or whatever. If you're still alive when they come back on, we're going to make sure you're, transferred to general population and you're shanked to death. Like, end it for yourself quickly, or we are going to make you suffer for it.
And do you remember
that's entirely possible?
Do you remember what his cellmate looked like, by the way?
Maniac.
Yeah, you ever seen a picture of him? He's like, his brother
messaged me and tried to talk to me. But guys, I'm taking a step back in the broader picture. Who gives up? I get it. We're supposed to care. I want to know the tens of thousands of hours
that's what I was saying.
of men, Epstein, famous people. Because, guys, these weren't randos. Who do you think is flying to Epstein Island? Chat, who do you guys think was there? Okay? We have the list. We're not stupid. We know the people. If you mean to tell me that you guys are over here worrying about the suicide, tens of thousands of hours, grab one of these mother fathers and get him off the street, put him in jail, not just to satisfy us. Who's to say they're not doing that shit still? Brandon, if you're a pedophile, there's no vacation, okay? I'm an alcoholic, right? Because I stopped drinking. 2 years is my 2-year mark. Sober is May 31st, Kelly's birthday. Remember that, guys, for Kelly's birthday? But, meaning I have no urges, but I still see liquor. I'm like, man, pedophilia is a whole different beast. You don't shut that shit off. Okay, it's a sickness that you're never gonna get rid of. Where are all those kids that came over the border? There's no there's no island probably, but there's somewhere. There's Epstein basements somewhere. That's why it pisses me the fuck off. Sorry for my language. They need to step it up, bro. Hurry up. And I get it. There's due process, but those people are out there. Get one of them. Even Prince Andrew's guy, his crisis advisor is like, yeah, he's fucking underage girls. What are we talking about?
Right.
Put his ass in jail.
I agree with Vinny. That's my expectation from what they said, was that everything was going to be shared so that we could all together come up with the decision he killed himself. And these are the people that did unspeakable things. Also, shout out to Mangu King and Mad Max for the super chats on this topic.
Yeah.
Question though. So I mean, like, let's assume they say to them when they get in there, they're like, all right, like, it's gonna just like blow up the world if you come out and like say what's going on here, because it's like all these important people, like bankers and politicians and judges and everything. And if you do come out with it, you know, like, we'll kill you and your family, blah blah blah. Like, how bold do you guys think you'd be capable of being if you like saw like the worst things ever being committed, but you had like the ultimate threat against you if you were to disclose it?
Brandon, fantastic question. I'm telling you right now, if I'm in that, because I don't know where they're at with their relationship with God and their soul.
Yeah.
I would have to. You have to, bro. Let justice be told, or let the heavens fall. Even if
That's
I
what I'm
want it to
saying.
fall apart,
Right.
if we're built on that,
Yeah.
sign me out.
Yeah, but
Dude, I want to get rid of my subscription.
At the same time,
I'm done.
Right, and
that's
as a
the kind of-
Christian too, Bongino's supposedly a
Big
Christian.
time. Well, you preach that you're.
if
you're
that's
a
the
Christian.
threat that's in place, though, of like, hey, so somebody comes to your office and says, if you release the contents of these files, we have people at your mom and dad's house, at your brother and sister's house, at your children's house, like every single one of your family members and yourself are in a crosshair right now. Release it and you all die. That's not the kind of pressure that the average person is going to be able to stand up for. I mean, you guys as like single dudes, maybe you can do your thing, but even still, you got parents, you got friends, you got people that you're close with, if all of their lives are threatened as well. But I don't even think it's that deep. I think it's more, because Brandon and I discussed this before the show a couple days ago, where they're in their office, these guys come in, they're all gung-ho about, let's get into the Epstein files, let's prove he didn't kill himself, let's reveal the cover-up. They get a knock at the door from a friendly, familiar face. Broad daylight, well-dressed associate they've known forever who's part of the administration, some government job, and says, look, here's all the stuff that's in it. You're seeing it now. If this gets out, this thing, and this thing are going to fall apart, and we're not going to be able to do it. Like, which is more important to you, to out this guy or to accomplish this whole list of things that you're also
So do you think they'll release it at the end of the 4
I
years?
don't think they will. I think it's now permanently right, left, or center being used for leverage. I think they're like, hey, if you release this, we lose all the leverage we got on the bankers, the movie stars, the politicians.
So then why don't we just clean house?
Because
Because
That's
the
what I'm
whole
saying.
system- because Kelly.
because it runs on blackmail. Look at who
And we're
trained
okay
Trump.
with just letting that be
Brandon-
the case
That's
then?
how-
Brandon
that's
did a
how-
whole video on this. The Cohn taught Trump how to blackmail people.
Yeah.
Like that was the whole thing. So
So he probably did a lot of it.
I think
but-
there's a lot of it in there that they're
But I
using as
think-
leverage on
listen,
people.
but a lot of reporting, because I want to move on to the next. Speaking of discussing human beings, a lot of this ties back to intelligence, Mossad, Israeli intelligence, and then listen. Maybe that's one of the reasons that they could do whatever the hell they want.
Funny you
Nobody-
should mention that, actually, because I have a whole list of all the ways that's connected, including things Bongino himself referenced.
Oh.
This was before he was in his current position. He was on with Tim Pool, and he said he was absolutely sure that Epstein was an intelligence asset for people in the Middle East.
Weird.
Now,
Yeah.
Then there's Ghislaine Maxwell's father, who is a known Mossad agent who also worked for MI6 and the CIA.
Weird.
And then fell off his yacht and disappeared in the middle of the ocean.
Weird.
Randomly.
Yep.
Then in 2007, Florida Attorney General Alex Acosta chose not to press charges against Epstein, despite numerous young girls alleging abuse.
Weird.
Acosta reportedly did so because he was told that Epstein, quote, belonged to intelligence and that it was, quote, above his pay grade and he should leave it alone.
Weird.
Epstein's lawyer who brokered this deal with Acosta was Alan Dershowitz, who self-admittedly had been working for the state of Israel for decades and was key in negotiating the release of the Mossad agents rounded up after 9/11.
Weird.
Caught photographing and celebrating the World Trade Center attacks.
Weird.
Epstein's chief financier, Les Wexner, founded the MAGA Group, which is a collection of billionaires with the explicit aim of promoting Israeli interests. This is the
Weird.
guy who owns Victoria's Secret.
Yep.
There ain't no
And
secret.
Bongino knew all of this going
still,
in.
it's
And
still-
still, and why do you think that is? Because if in those files was 100% proof of everything I just read to you, and it showed how deep that goes, nobody's touching that.
So if you like this clip, click right here. And if you want to see more like it, click right here. Stay angry, Patriots.